Okay, today I'm going to be replacing the spark plug tubes. This is one of the least expensive projects you can do. You should be able to find the tubes with the O-rings for less than $5 a piece. You got 6 cylinders, 6 spark plugs. Obviously you're going to need 6 of them. One other thing you might want to do is get one of these rubber plugs. This is similar to what you might find in the back of a small John boat or something, that when you take it out of the lake, you'd undo the plug to let the water out. It's got a T-handle. You'll turn it clockwise and it'll expand the rubber plug. So what you'll want to do is, after you've removed the coil, you can take this rubber plug, insert it into the tube, give it about a half a turn or so till it's tight, and then pull, and you should be able to pull the entire tube out of the heads. The reason I'm doing this is at high RPMs, I'm smelling burning oil, and I noticed on the passenger side of the engine that there's a little bit of residual oil there, a little wetness. So what I'm thinking is at higher RPM, when the pressure builds up, that these O-rings are old and flattened out a little bit, and maybe some oil is able to seep out from around and then get down on the exhaust and create the smell. So hopefully this will fix the problem. Pretty much chalk the front tires, get the back end in the air, get the tires off. There's a plastic cover that you'll need to remove on both sides. It has a 10 millimeter plastic nuts to take off, and then you'll have access to all 3 on each side, 6 altogether, spark plugs. Okay, so what I'm doing is replacing the spark plug tubes in the 986. I've got the rear tire removed, the plastic panel removed here. Okay, so we're going to go in, we're going to try to slide this rubber boot here up so we can get to the plastic connector underneath. All right, there's a tab right here. Just get my thumbnail into there, usually is all it takes. Pick that up and disconnect that now. And then T30, bottom and the top one is up here in the shadow. Take those out. One. And this, by the way, is the middle. We're on the passenger side of the engine of the car, and the engine, and this is the second or middle coil spark plug. And then you can pull this coil out, and usually it's airtight, so it's got some suction holding it in. Yep, that's out. And now I'm gonna take a paper towel first and kind of wipe around this hole just a little bit. I don't want to get any grime back into the engine block when I go to reinsert the new one. Okay, so now we're going to take this plug, insert it into the hole there, and you want to turn this T-handle clockwise. And I'm going to have to use pliers to do that. It's already pretty tight. I don't know, I think the whole thing is moving. It is. Oh, but there we go. That was good enough to extract the tube with the O-rings. And just like the other one, the upper O-ring looks really flat,
This bottom one looks pretty good. A little on the dirty side, especially right there. I don't know, maybe it got something on the way out. But yeah, let's get the new one and get it in. There's your part number, by the way, if you're got a 99986. Okay, so here's the new one compared to the old one. And you can see the new one, the washer is really rounded profile, whereas the old one is quite flat. And I'm hoping that that is the issue I'm having with the little bit of oil seeping out. It's not enough oil to really be a problem. I'm not losing really any oil. It just kind of is making a mess underneath here, and at high RPMs with a lot of pressure, I start to smell some oil burning. So I'm afraid it's coming out and getting on the exhaust right there. So anyway, so now we're gonna reinsert this new one, and it's gonna be like a game of operation. I'm gonna have to be very careful not to scrub down the sides or anything, even though I wiped them a little bit. All this is very dirty under here, and I don't want to get any dirt into this engine block. And just like the last one, you can see a little touch of color right there that tells me that it's not fully seated, but as hard as I can push it, that's all I can really do. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and put the coil back on, and then the two T30 bolts, and when I tighten the bolts down, it'll force this into the seated position. I have a real respect for these surgeons who do this surgery looking into a camera or a screen. There's such a small amount of room down here that I'm having to look into the camera to film this. It's kind of awkward. Don't tilt them too much. And then get your wire. You're going to want to hang on to the plastic part, not the rubber boot, because you've got to make sure these things snap down completely. When I changed the spark plugs a while back, I had everything looked fine, but I had one of these that wasn't completely seated, and the engine ran very rough, and it took quite a while to figure out. I think that was it there. Nope. I'm doing poorly here. Oh, that is it. That little clip's just popping out. But that's as far down as it'll go. Yeah. Oh, that's what you do there. You can push at the top. That's why I'm messing up. You can push at the top to release that clip. I didn't realize that before. I was sticking my thumbnail under that part. So when you go to push it down, don't push on that part, and then slide the protect the rubber boot over, and you are done and can move on to the next guy. Okay, so I had one here that when I pulled the coil out, there was oil on it, and sure enough, it is cracked really bad. Strangely enough, it's not the one, it's not even on the side where I've got the little bit of residual oil on the outside of the block. Unfortunately, it is the driver's side forwardmost spark plug hole that it came from. So this hose is in the way and made it very difficult. I was actually not able to use the rubber plug, I guess because there was a little bit of oil inside the tube. The plug didn't have enough friction to pull it out. So after a long battle, I finally decided to try a pick and was able to go in and get a little piece of it, and as soon as I did, it just popped out with ease. So I don't think I scratched or damaged anything on the block up there, and was able to get it out. So it's good that this one's being replaced, because that would just get worse and worse, and you might end up with plastic inside the engine, which would be bad. So